ridiculous that an actor, 15.5-stone actor, should really be attempting Mount Everest is quite ridiculous.
I mean, to get the whole thing set up has been such a... you've had to be so single-minded about the whole thing. It's been to the exclusion of absolutely pretty well everything else.
You've heard of several kinds of cat, and my opinion now is that...
But Brian Blessed's actually intending a serious climb of Mount Everest. He's recreating the 1924 climb of George Mallory, who was last seen just 800 feet from the summit. There we are, one of the classics. That was Frenesy from Artie Shaw and his orchestra. And this evening's guest is actor Brian Blessed. Now, Mallory, Brian, is a hero figure of yours, I know. Is it a hero figure from long back?
Oh, since I was a child, I saw him with the Rover, the Hotspur. There is his photograph with Irving. They're all my heroes. But Irving, Mallory fired us all. He was the one that did the reconnaissance. He did the 22, he did the 24. He was rather a bit like Ahab and the White Whale. He was obsessed, but he was called Sir Galahad. And when Sir Galahad finally put his hand on the chalice, he disappeared and Mallory, when he was last seen going through the mists, disappeared. It's rather marvellous, really. I'm obsessed like Mallory. I can't get rid of this obsession. If you told me we weren't going, I wouldn't know what to do. I wouldn't know what to do with myself. Captain Noel, he's kind of a hero of so many people. He fired the first bullet in the First World War. He was the first white man to get within 40 miles of Everest from India. He darkened his skin, darkened his hair, and he made this journey from 4 months' leave from the army.
But nobody could go there. It was forbidden to go. Nepal, on the other side, forbid anybody to come into their country. The Tibetans forbid anybody to come into their country. That's why I disguise myself as a Tibetan. I brown my skin with walnut dye and permanganate of potash. I dyed my face and my hands as I wore Tibetan dress.
For the moments of happiness, we had the experience. The British have been trying since about the middle 1900s to try to get to Everest. It was called Everest because of Sir George Everest. His actual name is Chomolungma. It's also called from the Nepalese side Sagarmatha, and it has other names as well. It's the meaning and approach to the meaning. Our expedition was about being fearless, and we just want to. It's a kind of cry for freedom. That's why we're doing it. It's to help people to find their own Everest. I'm going to ride that horse. I'm going to say I love that person. I'm going to do my allotment. I'm going to do that before I die, because governments keep us so damn frustrated and they bottle us down. I suppose that's why I'm going. Restores the experience in a different form. Lord Hunt, you led the successful 1953 ascent of Hillary and Tenzing. How do you feel about Mallory?
Well, I think he's one of those people who almost belongs to a bygone age, in the sense that for him, mountaineering in those days was so much more than a sport or a skill. It was almost a religion. For him, it was a spiritual experience. And I don't say that there aren't people, I'm afraid I'm one of them, who finds a spiritual uplift in the mountains. But that was very much his approach in those days. And certainly that appealed to me as a romantic small boy.
I just wonder if I'm fit enough. I've been running hard since September. Do you think I'm all right? Do you think
I think you'll be fine. I have every faith you'll be perfectly all right. You'll go up and you'll come down, no trouble. I'm quite sure. I've no qualms at all. I know Ruth Mallory thought that about George as well, but I really don't have any worries at all that you won't come back perfectly safely. I think you probably will have problems when you come back. I'm sure you'll have problems and things that you'll have to get over. But it might do you the world of good. I think mostly between your ears is where you need sorting out.
I used to see the northeast ridge as a child. I used to talk to my father about it. Why do I keep seeing this mountain, Daddy? And the colours were always very grey, and I've dreamt about it for years and years since I was a teenager and then up to being in my 20s. And the colours have become more vibrant. It's very interesting recently dreaming about it, and suddenly I see it much clearer, a full colour. I just feel we're going for the right reasons. We're going with flowers, we're going with prayers, we're going with the right attitude. And I think the mountain will be kind to us. She'll be good to us in the end. So many climbers, Charles, they seem thin and tall or small.
Yes, well, that's obviously...
Can heavy men do well? They take it easy?
Well, Don Willens was very heavy, wasn't he?
Yes.
Before he died.
Yes. I'm 53. How do you feel about that? What can you advise me about my age?
Really, we'll get better information about that from Chris Bonington, who's done it.
I don't think it really makes much odds. If you think of it, actually, in that dreadful K2 disaster a few years ago, the two people who actually survived that were the two 50-year-olds, Kurt Dienberger and an Austrian. They were the two people who actually walked out of it. I think as you get older, in actual fact, you build up a kind of a long-term stamina. You might get tireder than other people do, but you keep going.
Everest is a very high mountain and is a very dangerous mountain. You are, I know, a mountaineer of I don't know how experienced. How much have you done?
Well, I've done a lot, John, but I'm not an inspired mountaineer. I'm a plodder, a slow plodder at best.
Just one step more.
My body is suited to other sports, really, wrestling, judo, something like that. I'm a heavy man. I'm 15.5 stone. I'm not fatter. It's got big bones, but I don't really suit the great mountains at all. I mean, the mountaineers are usually quite thin, small, thin, tall. I'm a very heavy bear-like man, really.
You've got a good girth, which I think is a good thing. You've got plenty of fat to live on as you actually do it.
I shall start at 15.5 stone. When I'm finished, I'll be an old man. My hair will have greyed. I'll be shrunken. I'll be about 9 stone. I'll be in a terrible state, and I won't have any voice. That's the kind of state I'll probably be in. I'll be right at the end of my tether.
There's no point in going on without you doing it, because the whole house is just, all it hears from you from morning till night is the same old story. And really, we can't listen to the story any longer. You've got to go and make your film and tell everybody else your story, because we can't listen to it anymore.
Why does one always want to sing when one's in the Tyrol? It's absolutely beautiful here in the Tyrol. I'm rather nonplussed. I'm usually kind of very expressive and a big mouth character, but for once I'm rather in awe of the personage I'm going to meet, Reinhold Messner, who is a legend in his own lifetime. It's absolutely impossible to evaluate this extraordinary man. When I think of Messner, I see landscapes and storms and mountains and arêtes and bergschans, and a man fighting against the elements. This extraordinary character. And Chris Bonington said that he is, in all probability, the greatest mountaineer who's ever lived.
Hello. Happy to see you.
Nice to see you. I'm Brian Blessed. It's nice.
I know. You're going to Everest, I hear.
I'm going to Everest, yes, that's right. And I'm going to seek your advice on the whole thing.
The breathing is a basic thing that it's important for going up. The lack of oxygen is the basic problem on Everest. If Everest would be like Mont Blanc or like the Matterhorn, it would be easy for thousands of people. But it's 29,000 feet high. And for this is getting a problem, especially on the last 3,000 feet. So for a long time, people were thinking they have to do the same breathing system like in the Alps, and it's wrong. And if you look at the Sherpas, how they do, the Tibetans, when they cross high passes, they do it in a way that they go very quickly for 10 steps, 20 steps. They do a rest, breathing very quickly, hyperventilating.
They breathe very quickly?
Very quickly, hyperventilating.
In what way? Show me now. Yes. Do it.
Very quickly, it's no problem. And afterwards you do a rest and you go again in a slower breathing. And when you are strong again, you start again for a small run, let's say also a run. And I am using exactly the system Tibetans and Sherpas are using, because I say to myself, they know how to handle it, because they do it since thousands of years. We came only 100 years ago, we Westerners, to do this, and we can only copy them because they have more experience than we have.
What horrified me many years ago, Charles, was reading about the blood. At high altitude, apparently it thickens. What is that process?
Well, that's right. It does, because more red cells get made in response to the lack of oxygen. And so you get into the situation where your blood gets thicker and thicker, and it can sludge up and give you blood clots in various places. And what it means to you is that it's very, very important that you keep enough fluid intake, so you don't get dehydrated, because it's very easy at altitude.
I think probably the most important thing is to keep eating and drinking, and perhaps drinking most of all. You need something like 9 or 10 pints a day, and that takes an awful lot of, firstly, of cooking it, of melting the snow, and then of drinking it. And at times you just don't feel like being bothered to cook, or you don't feel like being bothered to drink it. And I'd say, if you can keep eating and drinking, you're going to survive most things.
Now, I'm a great believer in honey.
Did you have much honey?
Yes,
on the
I took honey
expedition?
because I learned in the Alps when I used to climb with Patronized father that honey is an extraordinary quality. It's a remunerative, vigorous effect on you. It goes straight into your blood from honey. If you take sugar, you don't benefit for several hours till your digestion has assimilated and passes into your blood. But honey, the vitality of honey goes right into your blood right away.
You've almost got to take one step at a time. I set myself targets. I set myself 10 paces, and I'm going to say, right, I'm going to take 10 paces without a rest, and you get to the 8th pace, and everything in you wants to stop.
The last step is depending from the first step. The first step is depending from the last step. It's a very good view. If you start for Everest, it's depending, if you like to reach the summit, you have to start right. And you have just to know, when you start for the first step, what is the last step. Otherwise, your beginning is wrong. So the last step is depending on the first step. And the first step is depending on the last step. It's a clear rule in mountaineering.
I've got bad feet. I've got lousy feet and strong bones, and the bones seem to press through the skin and blister them. I've been trying since September to harden my feet. They seem hard now. I've got to keep an eye on my feet. I take cold well, and though I'm an outgoing person, in actual fact I'm very quiet. Yes, I know. There is something very selfish about doing something like this. It's all right having highfalutin ideas. Mallory very grandly said, that the biggest danger in life is not taking the adventure. And it's easy to let that go tripping off the tongue. It sounds all very good. But in actual fact, I don't know where I'm going, but there's something very selfish about it. And there's no doubt about it. Chris Bonington feels very strongly that Mallory, was very selfish in what he did, going up there for the 3rd time. He said, you've got to be selfish, otherwise you won't get up there. You've got to be single-minded. He said, you don't understand. He was rather furious with me once. He said, you're being so noble and lovely. If you're going to get up there, you've got to be ambitious, you've got to be selfish. And I'm ambitious. I have a fear of hallucinating and not being in control of myself. Is that a problem?
No, I think it's a great help. Hallucinating is a great help, and especially if you are alone, in a difficult situation, alone for a long time, and putting out all your energy you have, really, because you need it. On Everest summit, I was so finished that I could only sit down and I forgot everything. I forgot either that I was there. And especially on the way up, I left my rucksack in the last tent. And before I left my last bivouac, I had the rucksack as a partner. And afterwards, I didn't have any more my rucksack to speak to somebody. And I became schizophrenic, I could say. But this being 2 persons in one, it was a help for me because I could speak to myself. I could discuss problems. I could tell to myself that I'm tired. And so I could understand it easier.
And could you actually see another human being, or could you see yourself?
Not on Everest solo ascent. On Everest solo ascent, I had a lot of discussions about Mallory and Irving, telling really they were up there, it's possible, and I had quite a feeling they could still be up there.
Did you feel you were conversing with Mallory?
Yes.
I brought a llama back to England for a year with some other llamas, and I got to know him very well. And we spent hours and hours and